Alright guys, so what I got here is everything's plastered. I'm kind of starting to put this in place. As you can see, I got some gaps in here. Picked up some packing paper from work, got a bunch of that on the workbench. I'm going to fill in these gaps with it. I'm going to glue this down. Oops, sorry for my hand being in the way. Down here on the end, that's where I want it to be glued down at. And where this is now, I know this rock kind of hangs over here, which is fine. I mean, that looks pretty realistic. Of course, I'd hate to be a intermodal stack train going through there when that rock hang over like that, but I might try to bend this a little bit to straighten it out somewhat, and then glue that down, put this paper behind it, and then fill it in with the plaster cloth just up to the background, and especially back in here, do the same, and then I'll plaster again, make it look like rock. This has really turned out good. There's a few spots here you can still see the plaster cloth through it, but here it kind of does, but it kind of looks like a rock cut, so that's fine. Down here it's fine. It's very rocky, probably a couple spots I'll fix, but it did the job. I mean, it has a nice rock looking texture to it. It is a little soft in some spots, but it'll dry. So that's what I'm going to do right now, try to glue this in and get the paper down and behind there and do that. So stay tuned, and in the next segment I should have that done and I'll go from there. Okay guys, got going on this river, and this, I tried a number of different things. This is a pretty good sized area to cut out, but I have to do this really in order to move towards what I want to do next, and I got to get it out of the way eventually anyway. So I tried a number of things. Tried a hole puncher, a soldering iron or something hot like that that would melt this, turns this into fiberglass. So what I did was put a new number 2 on my X-Acto. This is new, sharp. What I found is, number 1, I went too deep when I started down here, which isn't bad. I can fix that with plaster and plaster cloth. So back in the back, I've got it some holes. Let me show you. You can kind of see, excuse me, back here. You can see these holes. This is where the soldering iron is. You can hear that. That just turned that into solid fiberglass. So not a good idea. So what I did was put my new number 2 on here, sharp, and I'm just going to come along these edges and just cut it out, cut it out, cut it out, cut it out, kind of like cutting a steak, and just take it out a little bit at a time. And this way, working forward, I can cut it to the depth that this river was back here, which is what I want. So this might be the end of this update. So and I'll show you probably what I did maybe in the next update, or if I get this finished, I'll show you at the end of this update. But this is really has to get done in order for me to finish going on with plaster and everything. So I'm going to continue doing that with this. So stay tuned. This took just shy of 2 hours to cut this out with my X-Acto knife, as you kind of see. You can kind of see where I cut. That's not a big deal, because the next step is I'm going to come in with my sander, little mouse sander, and I'm going to come in here, do the banks, kind of like I did over here. Oops, sorry, over here, and sand all this down, sand the banks down. So that'll be the next step in this process, and then I can get plaster cloth going over this, level it out a little bit, keep it shallow for the pour. Now the pour for this is going to be literally the last little touch of detail that I do in this scene overall. First I need to build the tunnel and everything back here to so then I can then plaster and know exactly kind of how this is going to work. I will do a waterfall. I'm hoping to do a waterfall. We'll see how that plays out. Probably will come straight down here out of the woods. That's my plan. So that's where I'm going to leave off on this update. I will come back and show you the progress on this. I have to sand all this, and like I said, sand it and vacuum all this up. I do have an idea for the wall of the tunnel that I'm going to use around here. I'll show you that when I get to it, but I'm gonna maybe start working on that a little bit. So that's all I got for this update. And so sorry it's a little boring. It's scenery. I'm kind of showing you how I'm doing things now. So if you watch my 100 subscriber drawing tonight, you guys will know what I was talking about, why I'm kind of doing this, and I'll explain at the end of that. But for this update, that's it. I'll see you guys this week in the chats, and as always, please comment, please like, subscribe, even share if you want to. I appreciate that very much, guys. So take care, and I'll see you guys this week.